Assume that in one of the classes, the student has earned test scores 73, 81, 53, 78, and only one test remains. Now, our first question is, if the student needs a mean score of 70 to earn a C, then what must the student obtain on the final test? We have a similar question for B, but this time we are looking at what the student must obtain, all right, to earn a B. Okay, so let's look at the first question, the A part of the problem. Now, to do this problem, you have to use the definition for a mean or the average. So don't forget that to find the mean or the average, how do you do that? It's the sum of all data points. Okay, divided by the number of data points. Okay, there are other ways, there are other definitions that you can go with, but this is good. All right, now the mean is equal to sum of all data points divided by the number of data points. Now, what are the data points that we have here? Because it says that the student has earned test scores 73, 81, 53, 78, and only one test remains. So we're going to do 73 plus 81 plus 53, right? Plus 78. And then it says that only one test score remains. So let's say that that is what? X. We don't know that. Is that okay? So we'll let X be the test score that remains. So how many data points are there? So we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Including the one that is missing. So we will divide by 5. Sounds good. Now, it says that if the student needs a mean score of 70 to earn a C, then what must the student obtain on the final? So it is telling us that the mean is what? 70. So we have to look for our X. Are you good up to this point? So there's not enough space below here, so I'm going to go up here and finish up. So let me use a different ink. Let me use green. Okay. So now we know that the average is 70. So sum 73 plus 81 plus 53 plus 73. What do you have? That should give you 285 plus your X, and then divided by what? By 5. Are you good up to this point? Take a breather. You can pause the video and think about this. Now, this is where students get it wrong. Now, what you can treat this as a proportion. So you can say this is over 1, all right? So what you can do is that you can just cross product here. If you treat this as a proportion. So 7 by, so this means 70 times 5, all right? And 70 times 5 is going to give you what? 350. So you have 350, okay? And you have 285 plus your X right there. So you have a linear equation now. Is that okay? Because 1 times 285 plus X will give you 285 plus X. So now what will be your X? Your X will be 350 minus 285. And what is 250 minus 85? That will give you your X to be what? To be 65. So the student must obtain a 65 on the final test to get a C. Okay, so that answers the first part of this problem. Are you Gucci? All right, now let's look at the B part, very similar to what we've done. Is that okay? So what I'm going to do here is that I'm just trying to go, I'll try to simplify it a lot more. So now let me clean this. Okay. Now the only part that I'm going to keep is that I'm going to keep this part of the problem. So it says that this if the student needs a mean score of 80, so now the mean is 80, then what must the student obtain on the final score? So we still need to sum up the data points, which gave us 285, and that value that we do not know is the x, and still we are dividing by 5. Is that okay? So we are just replacing this with an 80, because you go through the same process as we did for A. Now treat this as a proportion. So 400. So you're going to do 80 by 5. And 80 by 5 will give you what? 400. So you're going to have 400 is equal to 285 plus x. What is your x? To find x, you have to take 285 across the equal sign. So this becomes 400 minus 285. And the student must actually get 115 to be able to get a B in the class. Okay, so this is how you approach this problem. So first, put your definition for mean or your average down, sum of all data points divided by the number of data points. And then you sum the data points. The data point that is missing, replace that with the variable x. All right, and then you divide by the number of data points, you cross product, and so for your missing variable. So that's as simple as that. All right, so thank you very much. Have a good day.